That's good.
I
Okay.
was trying to be like really deadpan and like low energy, and I just sounded really bitchy.
Hey, did the player stop working, or is it just me? That looks like it was just me. Okay, everybody, we are going to fade to black and get started. Jan, if you want to go to YouTube, we are good right now. All right. Starting in... Oh, are you good, Lucy?
I've got a tweet.
Somebody tweet. Nikki has said that they're going to start scheduling them. If not, then Jan will get it. Okay, everybody, here we go. Starting in 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for September 27th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game This Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Tony Hawk and Ever Crisis are coming to Steam and a whole lot more. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game This Mornings. It's Lucy James, everybody. Lucy, how are you doing?
Good morning. Night City.
You can't help yourself, can you?
I finished it. And so yeah, good game. We did the quick look. And I've been riding that high ever since. No, I finished it on Monday night, so it's great.
The story seems to be winning a lot of people over. Seems like it maintains that level of height, that high level of quality in the entire time, right?
I think it does. I had a great time with it. Idris's accent, not doing it for me. But the rest of it, I think, is really great. I genuinely, when the only thing I can say is that Idris Elba does not have a consistent accent, then you know it's a good game.
Exactly.
And I don't have a consistent accent, so I'm allowed to say it.
I'm the exact opposite. I love his inconsistent accent. Give it to me. I want it to be just all over the place. I want it to feel like he got 7 different directions when he was in that voice recording studio. That's video games to me, baby.
No, I want it to be like a William Shatner, where it's like, don't tell me how to do my job. It sickens me. Like, he's doing his own thing, okay?
Yeah, he's got his own ideas about what a cyberpunk Idris Elba is going to sound like. I want to get back to more of that game. I'm like right on the cusp of beating Armored Core 6, which I'm very happy about. I am trying to get to the end of Starfield because I'm at the very end of getting the first credits on that, and I'm playing that on the Ally, and that's like a good place for me playing it, where it's like I am now having a pretty good time with that game again. And then I'm like kind of looking what else I'm going to play. It's probably going to be Cyberpunk. That's the next thing on the list, although Liza P is creeping up there. I made enough progress in Cyberpunk that I'm like, I kind of want to see at least some of this story, and if I peter out, as I get, we're getting more codes constantly. I think we could say we got Assassin's Creed Mirage. That's happening. And then there's other games. There's a lot going on still. So still
what
too many games.
I booted up yesterday? You know what I booted up last night?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it a Remedy game?
It was Quantum Break.
Hell yeah! Okay, I asked, like, Quantum Break. You're playing that to like get in the mood, or do you think Alan Wake 2 is going to have anything related to Quantum Break in it?
Fucking Tim Brake is played by Sean Ashmore.
That's right. Sean Ashmore. There's Tim Brake.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the PC version is bad, so I might have to re-download. Huh. Yeah.
Time to get out the Xbox One VCR version.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's the only way to play that game. Absolutely. I would like to get some stuff out of the way before Alan Wake 2 gets here. We have a month, right? We have exactly a month, right? Before Alan Wake 2 is out. So
yeah, a month.
Okay. All right. Well, that won't happen, but I'm going to pretend right now that I'm going to get a lot done. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you're watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 is coming to Steam next week. I think is probably right because it's one package, even though it's 2 games inside one package. From Tom Ivan at VGC. Activision will finally release Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 on Steam next week. The game is now available to wishlist on Valve's PC Marketplace ahead of its release on October 3rd. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 was originally released in September 2020 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC via the Epic Game Store, and it became the fastest entry in the series to sell 1 million copies according to its publisher. The game was then released for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S in March 2021, a few months before it arrived on Switch. Then it never ended up actually coming to Steam. I put this story number 1 first because there's not a lot of news happening today, Lucy. That's just the frank truth. And 2, because I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. It's the best-selling Tony Hawk game somehow, and it just seems like even despite that success, it's already forgotten by Activision, and there's not a lot of chance for it to come back. Do you think that is this a sign of life at all, in your opinion?
To me, it's a sign of an exclusivity deal expiring.
Do you think that it was a 3-year exclusivity deal though? Because that's the thing where I'm like,
maybe not 3 years.
That's what's so extreme. It kind of feels like, maybe Epic had it for a year, and then Activision's like, whatever. Go. You have to the people that could do the port. You need to go make Diablo 4 for us because it's gonna suck otherwise. And hey, they did a good job on Diablo 4. But Vicarious Visions,
I guess. Have you got the Hearthstone stuff in here, by the way? I figured that.
Did mean to. I did have it, and I don't think I put it in here. I will grab that real quick because I definitely had that somewhere.
Yeah, it could also be an investor thing to kind of
just to have it more going
juice
on.
The numbers a little bit, have more going on.
Yeah.
I will say did you see the promo videos that Tony Hawk's been putting out for this re-release? I
have not. I don't think so. What's he been doing?
So, you know how he has a half pipe at his house and whatever? Because he's Tony Hawk, of course he does.
Of course he does.
He got balloons of skate, Skate, and he did a bunch of tricks
sweet.
Collecting it. It was really good. I immediately sent it to Jake Baldino, Tony Hawk aficionado.
Oh yeah, that's my boy. I remember when that game came out. It was me, him, and Tim Geddes talking about that game a whole bunch on Twitter. That's pretty cool. I mean, I am of the opinion that Tony Hawk under Activision just doesn't really make sense to them because they see it as a lost opportunity cost to put more people working on either Call of Duty or something over at Blizzard. And obviously that's what happened with Vicarious Visions, is that they did a great job on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, and the reward was, well, you're no longer a studio, you're now Blizzard. You need to make Diablo. And again, that was probably a smart move because Diablo needed the help, and Vicarious Visions is a very, very talented studio with a lot of passionate people that did a great job on that game. But Activision is just in that situation where they are focusing in more and more and more. And so my hope, maybe it's a fool's hope that like under Microsoft, the incentive of Game Pass can encourage them to bring back Tony Hawk. I think Tony Hawk has a better chance of coming back than a lot of stuff, but I think the chances are definitely greater under Microsoft than they are under Activision, right?
Yeah, and I think as well, at this point, Tony Hawk certainly knows his worth and the worth of the brand name, and I think it would be very expensive to pay him for that. But you never know.
Yes, I mean, he's definitely has an affinity for that series because he knows what it did for skating, what it did for him. Like he definitely made it popular. But also, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the video game, fueled the growth of skating at the same time. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but I'm not like fully in believe mode where like, oh, once Microsoft's there, we're for sure getting that game. That's not a guarantee. Phil wore a Hexen shirt, not a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater shirt.
What's the buzz around Skate 4? Like, is that popping off? And people seem excited about it. For a long time on social media, people were saying, where's Skate 4? But then at the same time on social media, people were saying, put Morbius back in theaters. So I can't trust anything.
Right. Yeah. The snakes on the plane thing where it's like, there was a meme and then no one's like, it's just a meme. We're actually not going to go see that movie. No, Skate 4 is popping off. It is in constant player preview where EA has a bunch of players in there playing a preview version of the game. And all the words, everything I've been hearing from people who've gotten their hands on it has been pretty curious and interesting, and they're pretty excited about it. Because, again, they're making it like a hangout game. It is...
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's going to be, hey, a bunch of people, just like you do in real life with skating. You go to the park, you hang out, you take turn doing tricks. Maybe someone brings a ramp, and then you move the ramp around. Well, that's exactly how Skate 4 is going to work, where it's a collaborative, create a park where like 16 people can get online on the same server, and one person can be building all this stuff while all the 15 others are doing parkour to get to the top and trying to do crazy tricks. And it's like that.
Wait. If you really want the experience, and EA, you can have this for free.
Oh, here it is.
One person should be the designated videographer.
Absolutely. Yes. The nerd who can't skate is just like following his friends
That's
around.
me.
Yeah, me too. That was me too as well. Shout outs to us, Lucy. So Skate 4 seems like it's popping up. I still don't know how soon it is. Like when we first heard about it, it was years off. Well, it's been years now.
Yeah.
I think we probably get an update on that game by the end of next year. Maybe it comes out by the end of next year. I mean, I guess that's also maybe a bit too hopeful. I was always a Tony Hawk guy. For me, extreme sports, Lucy, it goes Tony Hawk over skate, but I'm 1080 snowboarding over SSX, which is kind of like the opposite, because SSX is the arcadey one and Tony Hawk's the arcadey one. But for snowboarding, I like the realism for some reason. I don't know what it is. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is coming to Steam. This is from Ben Leon at Game Reactor. As part of a recent Japanese Final Fantasy Japanese Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis live stream, there we go. It has been revealed that the free-to-play mobile game will be coming to Steam sometime in the future. It's mentioned that the game is currently in development for the platform and that players will be able to share their data between the PC and mobile versions. There's not been any mention of time frame relating to this Steam edition of the game, and likewise, there's not been any word in regard to how the game will play in practice, but it does seem likely that the free-to-play nature with microtransactions will be preserved to maintain parity between the two editions. Yes, I think that's likely. Ever Crisis is the scaled down quasi demake remake version of the entire story of Final Fantasy VII and all of its spin-offs. This is at least my understanding. I'm not a Final Fantasy VII guy.
I'm Googling it.
Okay, yes. And it's they made it for phones, and it's like it's going to tell you the story, and it's going to have like the Crisis Core stuff in there. And it seemed interesting. Fans are like, man, it is microtransaction to hell. And so I'm like, I don't know. So part of me kind of
shocked.
Yeah, right. Part of me though is like still curious about it. I'm like, if it was on Switch, I would definitely get it. But I guess, hey, I'll play it on Steam Deck. I guess that sounds interesting. I don't know. Does a version of a Final Fantasy VII remake like that become more likely for you to play if it's on Steam? Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah, I think most people are probably going to agree with you, Lucy. Like, I don't need that free-to-play shit. Yeah.
No, I'll just wait. I'll wait until Rebirth, and then I'll wait the however many bloody years until the third bit.
Yes,
or
they're already remaking it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Crisis Core, and I could get original Final Fantasy VII if I wanted it. Free to play? No, get out of here, Square.
Yeah.
I did see a thing yesterday where I think it was Stephen Totilo at Axios tweeted about he'd done an interview with someone and it was telling Square to get off being PlayStation only. It's like, well, they're doing this. They're on PC and mobile.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go, fans.
Curl the monkey sport.
And it's coming to PC before it comes to PlayStation. So big win for Steam there, getting your microtransaction to hell. Free to play Final Fantasy VII game. Activision Blizzard has reportedly cut 10 jobs from the Hearthstone team. This is from Brendan Sinclair at GamesIndustry.biz. Activision Blizzard has laid off some developers from the Hearthstone team. The company confirmed to Kotaku senior reporter Ethan Gotch. Gotch reported last night that 10 people within the Hearthstone team were let go without notice as part of a restructuring. This is a quote now. Organizational changes were made to the Hearthstone team, an Activision Blizzard representative told Gotch. As a result, a small number of roles have become redundant. We want to thank these employees for their many contributions. Among those laid off was a tools engineer with 18 years of tenure, Gotch said. Activision Blizzard's most recent quarterly earnings showed that Diablo IV launch drove Blizzard revenue up 160% year over year, with the division's operating income more than 4 times what it posted in the year-ago quarter. Both figures were second quarter records for Blizzard. Hearthstone feels like it had its time in the sun and is in sort of not maintenance mode, but not something close to it, because it can't be growing that fast, can't be raking in new users, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Hearthstone came out and the way that it just took over our office in the UK. We did tournaments. It wasn't even just GameSpot too. It was a thing that we connected with people at Last FM and CNET over. So it was something that brought the brands together, and it was awesome. I never really got into a card game like it before. I really, really loved Hearthstone, but then over the years, I just fell off. You know, the meta became, at least for me, you know, as someone who doesn't have all of the time to devote to something like this, I put all my eggs in the Overwatch basket, I guess. I couldn't keep up with a live service game like that, and it was sad to lose it, but I feel like it's not approachable for me to come back to it now, because I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. But anyway, yes, a lot of people in chat saying Marvel Snap is eating its lunch. It's on mobile, it's quicker, it's easier. And Blizzard, I guess, yeah, that really sucks. Also, Blizzard's entire esports division is
In shambles.
crashing and burning. Yeah. And so if they're not getting the sponsorship bucks through Hearthstone, through Overwatch League, yes, you can report those Q2 quarterly earnings all you want, but like, live service games cost a lot of money. And so if people aren't paying for it, then yeah, this is a really sad thing. I hope it doesn't completely go the way of Heroes of the Storm. But Blizzard will probably do that.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to Hearthstone, it probably isn't shrinking at some abnormal rate. But these games, they aren't free from the confines of capitalism that all these other games operate under. They have to be growing to make it make sense for these companies. And it's probably also not maintaining. It probably is losing some number of people, and I'm certain, obviously it's down from the high point, but these days it's like, well, can't you just reach some equilibrium? And it's like, yeah, I guess they definitely will do that, but in order to get to that point, they're cutting jobs, and it's like, man, do you have to cut jobs? Don't you have other projects ongoing to like move these people around? So that's the part that's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You think Blizzard would have a ton of openings, a ton of projects, move them over to Diablo?
Well, they've got the survival game.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So there's a lot going on over there. So it's like, why is this the solution? But yeah, Hearthstone, again, had its day in the sun. Marvel Snap is here. So I don't know if Hearthstone ever has like this resurgence. It feels like, God, I remember learning about Magic the Gathering in the 90s and then going through a 10-year period and never really hearing about it. And now it's everywhere. So it's like, clearly these card games can have that sort of resurgence. I don't know if Hearthstone is Magic the Gathering, though. That's what I'm saying. That I honestly don't know enough about the genre to say if it would even be possible for that to happen. I just know that all the people in my life that played Hearthstone, I was one of them for a little bit, and I got off the treadmill pretty quickly. But all the people who kept playing for months or years after me, don't hear them ever talk about it anymore. And I think that's normal, right? Eventually, people do move on.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who still plays Hearthstone. But a lot of people I know play Marvel Snap.
Yes.
A lot of people. Skill up. I'm looking at you, man. I'm worried about you. But
I feel like even like Marvel Snap, though, is going to eventually kind of go the same way. Like, I don't think Marvel Snap is going to have a Magic the Gathering like lifespan either. It's going to be much similar to Hearthstone, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say,
making a lot of money for like 5 to 6, 7 years is very good.
And then we'll get DC Snap.
Exactly. They'll come up with a Harry Potter Snap, and everybody will be like, I don't want this shit. I
don't want to be canceled. Thank you.
Get out of here with that. All right. We hit that. You know what? We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot more news, including what's happening with Payday. Apparently, it's a bunch of stuff that's happening with Payday. We'll talk about it right after this. All right, before we talk about that, Lucy, we're back. Hello, everybody. We're back.
Oh, hello.
Before we talk about that, have you seen this this Baldur's Gate ripoff on mobile? It's a gacha game.
No.
Okay, if you look at the video feed on giantbomb.com/chat,
okay.
Oh, I actually can't get over that.
Oh my god. Is that Yassified Astarion?
Yes.
No.
And look at the
look at
Look at the gremlin lady in the back, how smooth she is. This is very funny to me.
Hang on, that's Lae'zel, but they've changed her nose to be like...
Yeah, to be super cute. Look at me, I'm super cute. For audio listeners, this is a iPhone game that has Astarion looking like he's in a boy band, I guess. I don't know. Is that a good reference these days? That's what he looks like to me anyhow.
Well, I don't know. NSYNC are back, and they look like a bunch of dudes in their 40s.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe
they look like they manage a Target. Yeah, definitely. But I think that's a good look, and I approve of it. All right, let's get on with the news. Payday 3 Studio is looking to remove always online requirement as server issues plague launch. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Payday 3 Studio Starbreeze is investigating the possibility of removing the game's always online requirement following a bunch of issues at launch. The game currently has mostly negative reviews on Steam due to players having problems connecting to servers. Although Payday 3 is a team-based online game, it's possible to play solo with AI bots as squad mates. However, since the game requires players to always be connected to a server, the game's online issues have also been preventing this option too. Starbreeze has been attempting to improve server connectivity and matchmaking, but the studio has now released a statement saying it's looking into removing or reducing the always online requirement in the future. This is I get what, like, this had to be a low priority before launch, but they probably weren't predicting that they would have this many problems with the connectivity. I think everyone could look at Payday and know that, hey, Payday 3 probably going to be pretty similar to Payday 2, going to be rough at launch. I think it would have been easy to try to predict the Metacritic there is like a 75 or lower in that range, because you're like, yeah, that's just what happens with these games. They don't have as much content, they don't have all this other stuff. But the story for this game this week has been you can't get connected, and when you do get connected, it is kind of weird in terms of how it matches you up with other people. So it's just a bad experience across the board. Do you think making adding an offline mode so people could play solo with AI is going to quell the concerns here?
You're getting attacked. You're getting shot by a bubble gun.
Oh no! What's up? Are you gonna show me something? Okay, as soon as I get done, you can show me. All right.
Oh. Does she have opinions on Payday?
Yeah, she has a. She's also. I think she saw Spider. She wants me to get some. I'm gonna help her out with that.
Item.
Yes, I'll help you out with that soon, kiddo. You keep an eye on it. I think she likes spiders, but she's also scared of spiders. It's a whole thing. She's gonna be a goth. I think she's into things that scare her.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I very, very much approve of that. For me, I look at Payday 3.
Oh yeah. Payday 3. Payday 3. I mean, it's not exactly gonna solve launch issues, is it? Because I don't know. This is the narrative now, and you are coming out in 2023. A year of incredible games, and people just want to play them. And if they bought them and you can't play, I hope this will be a redemption story for him. But like, damn, not a good start.
Yeah, and they refer to this as a short-term solution. This is something they can do relatively quickly, maybe, to improve the situation for a percentage of players. They know, though, and they've said a bunch of times that they know they need to fix the overall connectivity issues, and then they need to look at all these other problems that people are complaining about, which we'll get to in a second. But you know, the game, it still seems like it's in a place where it's like in a launching situation where, yeah, it's getting a little bit hammered right now. But in a couple of months, couple of years for sure, I expect most of this will be forgotten, and Payday 3 will have, the 100,000 players per day that Payday 2 has, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. They have so much experience in maintaining a live service game. Like, I don't think anyone could have predicted the popularity of Payday 2 and how much that has persevered over the years. And so I'm sure they'll get there. It's just a really unfortunate way to start. And I guess for, devs who've been working on this for a number of years, that's not the foot forward that they want to have out in the world. But yeah, I mean, that's why like barely anyone has a review up, is because most people can't even get in games. So yeah, it kind of blows. And
that's not going to change this week. I didn't put this in as a separate story, but the studio's saying the game will go down multiple times per week. They're planning to bring it down multiple times this week so that they can do maintenance on it. So, hey, Jan, maybe we should have something else for UPF, I guess. I got some other ideas there.
Yeah.
Payday 3 won't be changing its progression system despite community criticism. This comes from Jack Coleman at DualShockers. So it's not just the online stuff. People are also not so sure about the game itself. Payday 3 developer Starbreeze has no plans to change the game's progression system despite significant community criticism of this feature. It's been a rocky start for Payday 3 following its launch on September 21st. The game has been plagued with the aforementioned matchmaking and server issues. My comrades and I managed to play just one measly heist in an hour and a half on launch day. To make matters worse, it wasn't even really matchmaking. They were just playing against AI, they explain. Starbreeze then made a post on their website saying an unidentified third-party partner faced an unrecoverable situation after a software error with the matchmaking. While the connection issues are a headache for players, there are other criticisms being leveled against Payday 3 by its community. Chief among these is the progression system, which has been subject of several displeased social media posts. In an initial developer live stream with brand director Almir Listo and lead producer Andreas Pinniger, the pair revealed that there aren't any upcoming changes planned for Payday 3's progression system. They said, "We don't have any plans to change how progression works. However, we are seeing requests and concerns about how the challenges are communicated to players. Something that we are evaluating right now is how we can make the more intuitive, make that more intuitive, and how we can front load that information," Pinniger said. The reaction of some community members to this doubling down wasn't wholly positive. In a subsequent stream with Listo and senior game designer Mirodeg Kovacic, the pair elaborated on Starbreeze's thought process with progression. The crux of Kovacek's argument is that the team doesn't have enough information from their analytics to make sweeping changes to core features immediately after launch. This has got to be a tough place for a studio where you're getting complaints and you can't tell if the community knows the solution or if they just know the problem. Because I think what you hear from studios a lot of time is gamers are very good at knowing when they don't like something. Rarely do they know how to fix that thing or make it better. Like all their suggestions are almost always bad. So as a developer, you're like, yeah, you want us to change the progression system. We hear you, but we're not really taking your opinions on how to make that better. We're going to wait and figure that out. I guess my question to you, Lucy, is they do have time to figure this out, right? Payday 3 is not going to live or die in this first week, right?
Oh, I think they fix the online stuff first so people can actually get in, and then maybe they'll worry about this stuff. But I agree, yeah. But like, people will just say, "Oh, fix this, change this," and it's like that is not, just tweaking one tiny thing. You have to. That is a lot of work. And then at this point at launch, when you can't even get into the game, that's going to be low on the list of priorities for them right now. And I imagine they will be constantly looking at progression, taking feedback from the community and making changes. But like immediately, no.
At the same time, it's like this probably is the kind of thing that can poison the well on an online multiplayer game. I think about like Halo Infinite, right? And people are like, kind of didn't love the treadmill there. And then there wasn't enough content, and those things sort of worked hand in hand to get most people feeling pretty bummed out about the idea of playing Halo Infinite. So these are problems they do have to address, but or they just kind of tweak them, like you said, to get it in a good place. But they kind of, I think they still have some time. The clock is running, but it's not anywhere near the end game for them of figuring out what Payday 3 is going to look like in the long run.
Before we move on,
please go ahead. Hit it.
PS Plus dropped.
Oh yeah. What's happening over on PlayStation Plus?
Leading the charge for PS4 and PS5, the Callisto Protocol.
Woo! Let's go.
And then PS4, PS5, Farming Simulator 2022.
Okay, well now that's a real video game. I didn't know we were going to get real video games.
Oh, and then PS4, PS5, we got Weird West, which is awesome. I like Weird West a lot.
I like that game too. All right. So that's PlayStation Plus games. Those start rolling out at the beginning of the month, right? They announce them at the end of the month, and those start coming in October 1st. Okay. All right. Let's look here at the next story. Alan Wake 2 was built for 30 frames per second, but don't worry. It will have a solid performance mode, Remedy says. This also comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. The console versions of Alan Wake 2 will have a performance mode with an increased frame rate, despite originally being designed to run at 30 frames per second. Remedy's communications director, Thomas Puha, explained on Twitter that while the game was intended to be a 30 frames per second experience, there will be an option to increase the frame rate. I'm glad to say that Alan Wake 2 will have a performance mode on PS5 and Xbox Series X, Puha said. The game has been built from the beginning as a 30 frames per second experience, focusing on visuals and ambience. and somehow we have managed to include a solid performance mode. We'll talk details later. A follower asked if this meant performance mode would be locked at 60 frames per second with graphical details reduced to compensate, or would simply have an unlocked frame rate that aims for 60 frames per second. Pua replied that they're still tweaking that. Alan Wake coming very soon. Lucy, I guess I knew we would get back here. That games would be targeting 30 frames per second as like, no, this game was made to be at 30 frames per second. I think when it came to like Starfield, I don't think Bethesda ever even like considered another option, because if that's just how Bethesda works, they're an anomaly. I don't think that even really counts. They're just weird and kind of stupid about that stuff. When it comes to Alan Wake 2, though, it's like Remedy definitely has made games that are 60 frames per second before. But I think they're just like looking at it like, hey, we can make this look very, very, very good. And so we're going to do what happened almost all of last generation and target 30 frames per second. Are you a little surprised by that, or is it not even really registering with you?
You know what, Jeff?
Please tell me, Lucy.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you just want it, right?
Do not give a single solitary shit. I just want the game to run.
Yes.
And if it runs in 30 FPS.
Or 30 degrees.
Well, hopefully my PC isn't any hotter than that. If it runs in 30, if it runs in 60, if it runs in 120, I don't care. I want a smooth experience with as minimal graphical issues as possible. And if that's what 30 frames per second gives me, I will take 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Of all the things in my life that I will devote my energy to, I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I don't care.
I mean, you got to save that energy for getting mad that Metal Gear Solid is running at 30 frames per second on the Switch. That's where the real anger needs to be focused.
Yeah, fucking Konami, right? No.
Pieces of shit. Okay. To just touch up on the possibility of being a little bit of a hypocrite, something about this game feels like, yeah, that's filmic. 30 frames per second, whatever. Yeah, I don't think I care too much.
Give me the Hobbit 48 frames.
Yeah,
you know?
there we go. Honestly,
make it weird.
40 frames per second is kind of really working for me these days. I'm playing. I lock all my games on the Ally and the Steam Deck to 40 frames per second, like max, and I kind of am at a point where that looks like 60 to me. It basically looks like 60. Because it's 33% more frames per second than 30 frames per second. So it's like, that's like a significant increase, and it looks very smooth. But most games, some games on PlayStation 5 now are like targeting 40 frames per second. I think Spider-Man 2 is going to have a mode for 40 frames per second. That's cool. I'm not expecting Remedy, a studio that is, it's working. They're working with Epic, but they're mostly doing this on their own to have a bunch of those different modes. So targeting 30, getting the most out of the visuals at that level of frame rate, and then having a performance mode, well, yeah, okay, perfect. That sounds, there's nothing wrong here. That's all fantastic. This is kind of the way it should work if a studio is going to target 30 frames per second. Lucy, I got to ask, when you boot it up, are you just going to go with what they recommend? If they recommend 30 frames per second, on Alan Wake 2, you're just going to boot it up and start playing and not even look at those options? Or if the 60 frames per second is an option, would you go to that?
I will go to the options menu and put everything on ultra, because I'm playing on a 4090, and then also whatever Digital Foundry tells me to do.
Okay, no, totally fair. Yes, that's actually the right answer. Those videos are very useful. All right, Limited Run announces physical releases of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden. This is from My Nintendo News. Believe it or not, it has already been more than 8 months since Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden were released on multiple platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. However, you may be surprised to hear that a physical version of these two games is currently not available. Well, that is about to change. Limited Run Games has announced that Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden will be receiving physical releases. Pre-orders of the former will begin on September 29th, and pre-orders of the latter will begin on October 27th. Are you looking at some of these collector's editions, Lucy?
I saw this yesterday, and I
will tell you what. If any games are ever going to hold their value, I think it's going to be these. The
thing is, as well, is that Persona 3, I never finished. And so I'm fine. It's the Persona 4 stuff that I'm worried about. because I don't know what that collector's edition looks like, but Persona 4 is one of my favorite games of all time.
Well, I can tell you that it's, let's see here. I have Persona 4 Golden numbers. Persona 3 Portable SEES, the C's edition, is $200. I assume the Persona 4 Golden Collector's Edition is about the same, if not more.
But it doesn't say what is going to be in...
Yeah, so these are going up for pre-order in 2 days, so we'll know by then, I assume.
Yeah.
But yes, I think these are going to be very popular, and if anyone wants these, you're going to have to be hovering over that pre-order button on September 29th, because they're going to go fast.
Wait, so you have the image of the...
I have the Persona 3 stuff here. I don't have the 4 stuff.
Look at what I just put in. Yeah, they haven't released the 4 stuff, but look at that. Like, they've got the Evoker.
Evoker, I hardly even know her. Sorry, everybody. Let's see here. There it is. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, and that's the $200 version. And again, I think that Persona 3 or Persona 4 collectible stuff that is going to be relative. I mean, it's limited run, so it's going to be inherently limited, especially for a Switch version. This is, I'm not telling anyone to invest. This is not investment advice, but you should buy this and invest in it. Put all your money in Persona 3 and Persona 4 collectibles. Take your money out of your kids' college fund and go buy these instead. So are you going to get a Persona 4 one? Or are you just like, you're not sure? You need to know what's in there. Is that where you're at?
I need to know what's in there, but also I'm trying not to get as much like stuff anymore.
Yes, of course.
I'm going to like a bunch of, I've got trips coming up and travel's expensive, and I'm just trying to be like a little more careful with my money, I guess. But at the same time, I love Persona 4. So, and also I have basically, you can't really see here, but this is Mass Effect shelf. And yesterday Dark Horse did the pre-orders for new figures. And then here is the Persona shelf. So I've got like the vinyl for 5. I have the character book. Yeah. And then I have have like a bunch of figures and stuff here.
Move this over a little bit so people could see. I'll get it. Hang on. Let me guess. There we go. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Looking good. All right. Yeah, that's no, now I've messed everything up. There we go. Let me fix this. This thing is being pretty stupid. I wonder if I could just Control Z out of this. There we go. There we go. All right. Guest. Nope. One more time. There it is. Okay. There we go. Now we're fixed. Control Z in OBS is something they only added like a couple years ago. Yeah. And it's saved my life. It saved my life right now. All right, let's see here. Sekiro, one of From Software's best games, has quietly topped 10 million in sales. This is from Chris Carter at Destructoid. With all of the Souls series marketing blitzes, it's easy to forget that, yes, From Software produced and released Sekiro. It's not easy to forget that, Chris. I remember that every single day of my life. Yeah. And it ruled. Well, it's cleaned up quite a bit and managed to achieve the milestone of 10 million units sold worldwide as of September 26, 2023. Here's the full announcement. From its release in March 2019 to today, we have received tremendous support from everyone, and we have now surpassed 10 million units sold worldwide. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who played this work. That's a new IP hitting 10 million. Listen, it's not Luigi's Mansion 3 numbers of 13 million. It's pretty close, though. And it's actually kind of up there with most like PlayStation big first-party games, and it's ahead of most Xbox first-party games in terms of raw numbers sold. So that's super impressive, and honestly, it's the From magic at this point. I bet Armored Core 6 eventually gets to 10 million copies sold, or maybe something close to it. Because I just at this point, From's got the golden touch, right?
Mm-hmm. What do we know? What Armored Core is on right now?
I don't remember, but I thought it was pretty good. I kind of interested now. Armored Core 6 sales. They said early on, like in the days after it came out, that it was a big hit, but I think all that reporting was based on like the concurrent numbers on Steam. I don't know if they've said exactly. So maybe 10 million's a bit much for Armored Core 6, but
6 million seems like kind of 5 to 6.
5 to 6, and it's almost certainly going to get to that without a doubt. So that's pretty impressive for the Armored Core series, and it's already the best-selling Armored Core game, almost certainly. King celebrates Candy Crush Saga's. Okay. Lucy, are you looking at the story? Don't if you are. If you aren't already, don't.
Okay, I'm not.
How many levels are in Candy Crush Saga?
Oh.
And chat, feel free to throw in your guesses as well. How many levels are in Candy Crush Saga? That's
20,
low. Every guess so far has been low. That's low. Lexi, that's low. Kurtman, that's over for sure. Okay. Some are now finally starting to get over. What do you say, Lucy?
I said like 20,000.
Okay, it is 15,000 levels. Yes. So they are celebrating their 15,000 level and $20 billion in revenue. This is from Dean Takashi over at GameSpeed. Activision Blizzard's King Division is celebrating 20 years of Candy Crush Saga with the launch of its 15,000th level for the Match 3 game. The company said that Candy Crush Saga has reached $20 billion in revenue. Let's see, got a little thing there. $20 billion revenue and 5 billion downloads to date. 5 billion downloads. That's just about everyone on Earth.
That is so many mothers.
Okay, it's half of everyone on Earth. But yeah, right. It's every mom on Earth. That is the equivalent of a wrecking ball swinging through the video game industry. Headquartered in London, England, and Stockholm, Sweden, with offices across the globe, King's games, including Candy Crush Saga, Candy Crush Soda Saga, and Farm Hero Saga, continue to captivate audiences worldwide. Candy Crush Saga, Lucy, came out in like 2012. So it's been like a solid decade of just this game dominating mobile. And obviously there's been other stuff here and there, and there's been the Clash of Clans games and Pokemon Go. But all that time, in the top 3, it's always been Candy Crush Saga, and Candy Crush Saga almost always just goes back to the top. It is just the default game for so many people. And yeah, for every mom on Earth, it's kind of surprising. And when you look at that, it's like, can it keep going? And obviously they've said that for years and it has kept going. So I think it kind of makes sense why Microsoft's like, we could spend $69 billion nice on this.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Everyone always leaves off the king when they talk about Activision Blizzard. It's Activision Blizzard King. They really want that king. But yeah, Christ. I mean, you know what? Not going to yuck anyone's yum. Enjoy what you like. But also, Jesus.
All right, a little breaking news. This is from Tom Warren on Twitter, and Tom Warren's over at The Verge himself. The FTC is still going after Microsoft. The FTC is planning to resume its administrative case against Microsoft's proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition soon. The administrative case will commence 21 days after the Ninth Circuit rules on the FTC's appeal. The administrative hearing will be held virtually. This is the administrative case that was always on the books. This was always going to happen. In fact, this happened before the FTC tried to get that preliminary injunction, basically a restraining order to stop the deal from going through. That's the court case that happened a little bit ago where all the details came out and stuff like that. But before that, they are like, hey, we're going to do this administrative case where basically the FTC has its own judge and they go over all this stuff. But without that preliminary injunction, which the FTC did lose out on, I think they're still appealing that. I think that's what the appeal is. But without that injunction, the deal is still free to close. Microsoft can still close the deal. So that's why the CMA thing is still more important. So, yeah, I wonder why the FTC kind of doesn't just drop this at a certain point. But I think they were afraid to give any ground to these companies because they're trying to be more and more aggressive. And I think they want these companies to know that they will do everything. Because it's not about winning. Lucy, I don't think that it was ever about winning.
Saving face.
Yeah, about saving face and about showing these companies that it will be a headache if you try to do this. So maybe they will think twice. And I think that, again, going back from the very beginning, I always thought that's a completely fair strategy for the FTC. Because it airs out all of these potential issues with these deals. So we have a better understanding of what they look like or what they could look like. And that's only a good thing. And then, if the deal is it's like good enough to overcome the standing of the way, well, then fine. But the FTC can still put some hurdles in the way and try to convince companies like Facebook to think twice before they consolidate even more. All right, Nickelodeon All-Stars Battle. Ooh, just lost my page. Let me see if I can get that back real quick. Nickelodeon All-Stars Battle Royale 2. Yeah, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2 is getting a release date of November 3rd. This is from Nintendo Everything. Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2 just received a final release date. Game Mill, Ludosity, and Fairplay Labs have confirmed that the title will arrive on November 3rd. Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2 was first revealed back in July. Game Mill said it would be coming sometime in 2023. It was, but didn't confirm anything more specific. There's a bunch of details here, but for the most part, this is another one of these Smash Brothers clones. This game.
Oh, hang on. Hello.
Yes.
This one's going to have single-player campaign featuring roguelike elements.
Well, never mind. Game of the year then. Let's go. You know, I like roguelites.
God.
It's actually a really good idea. I'm super curious about that. I'm almost done, kiddo. Let's see. This is in comparison to the WB Smash clone that was a free-to-play game, but had better production values than Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 1. But then that one went offline, and they're like, we're going to bring that back next year. That's when the real launch is going to be. This has actually been early access. And everyone's like, wait, what? We've been spending money on this for a long time. Why are you going to take it offline? So I think putting these games out as just product packages for mostly a younger audience, that makes a lot more sense than trying to be the Smash competitor free-to-play game that WB seemed to go for. Now I'm kind of curious about this.
Oh, excuse me. I actually forgot about Multiverses.
Yeah, Multiverses. Thank you. Yes.
Mentioned it. Jan, who was the woman we met on the train? Is she going to be in this? From all that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, what's her name?
Lori Beth?
Lori Beth.
Lori
Yes,
Beth?
LB. Yes, LB.
Lori Beth Denberg.
That's right. There's chat catching up.
Oh,
Lori Beth
Gabs.
Denberg.
I hope she's the narrator.
Yes, if she was the announcer, that would be very cool.
That would be
I would like
great.
that a lot. They didn't have voice acting in the first one. This one will have voice acting.
Tom Kenny's going to be in it.
Who's going to be in there?
Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob.
Oh, really? Okay. And then I hope that they have. Is Jimmy Neutron's dad in this one, or was he in the last one? I hope he's in this one too. If he was in the last one, I need Jimmy Neutron's dad. You know that about me, Lucy.
I do know that about you. I've never seen a single episode of Jimmy Neutron. I was not a Nickelodeon kid. I was a Cartoon Network kid. Yeah,
I just know the memes about Jimmy Neutron's dad. Although I was
you're
Nickelodeon
wrong.
dad. What's that?
Jan says that was Nigel Thornberry.
Nigel Thornberry was in. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so not Jimmy Neutron's dad. This is Eliza Thornberry. I did watch the Wild Thornberrys because wasn't that Tim Curry was Thornberry's dad? And he's like, yes.
It was definitely maybe in the movie. I don't know. I'm not sure. I never watched the Wild Thornberrys. I know that was like sort of in a follow up to, not like in the same universe as Rugrats, but from the same animation team, obviously. But I was too old by then. Tim Curry was always Nigel. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome. I had no idea. That's very cool. Gotta love Tim Curry.
Smashing. Have you seen Over the Garden Wall?
I've started it a bunch of times with my kids around. I'm like, I know it's a bit spooky, but maybe they'll be into it. And then they're just like, this is fucking boring. I'm like, oh, okay, I like it, guys. Yeah, you're being very rude to the things I like.
Tim Curry's very good in that one.
It was Over the Garden Wall was on Max, the one to watch for HBO, and they took that off there, I think, and they're gonna play it on TV. But I think I'm just gonna pirate it. I think that's what I'm gonna do it. I don't care anymore, Lucy. I'm gonna do it.
I'd like to say for when this is eventually used in court that I do not condone piracy.
She tried
America.
to stop me like the whole time.
Let me stay. I enjoy the corporations.
And FBI, I own that, I think. So I'm just getting a digital backup. That's what that is. Digital library of goods. All right, last story here. Game streaming will reach Netflix-like popularity, but not soon. Ubisoft CEO says. This comes from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Ubisoft recently signed a major deal with Microsoft for cloud streaming rights, and Ubisoft's CEO Yves Guillemot sounds pretty bullish on the prospects for game streaming in the future. Speaking to Financial Times, Guillemot said streaming in the video game world could follow a similar path that film and television did with Netflix. Guillemot pointed out that Netflix's big bet on streaming did not pay off right away, and that might be similar for games. When Netflix first said it was going to go, should I do my Yves Guillemot voice? People get mad when I do it, but I kind of want to do it anyhow.
What's your Yves Guillemot voice?
When Netflix first said it was going into streaming, their shares fell a lot, and they were widely criticized. Today
I'm sorry, I didn't realize Yves Guillemot was German. What is that voice?
It's more about the timbre. It's more about the sounds than anything else. Today we see that what it's become. It's going to be the same way with video games, but it will take time. But when it takes off, it will happen very quickly. There it is. There's my Yves Guillemot. I don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced that cloud gaming is eventually going to be a thing. I guess it makes sense. It's like, who wants to buy hardware? But it turns out, look at the way the iPhone sells. everyone wants to buy hardware. I don't know. I don't know if I get this anymore, Lucy.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco because I live there. Great job, me. I was in a car with my friend Callie. We were on the way somewhere on Saturday, was it? No, it was Friday. Saw people queuing around the block for the new iPhone. Then did you see that video where someone did that to it and the whole titanium thing broke?
Oh, no, I didn't. Of course it did.
Yeah, only on the Pro, though. And I was like, damn, all right. Yeah, streaming. I was there, Jeff. I was there when they tried to make OnLive a thing. I was there for the Ouya. I was there for Gaikai. We keep saying the tech's just around the corner. The tech's there.
Yeah, it's there. I just think people don't like the idea of it.
Years. But yeah, I don't know. Adoption rates are still not probably where they needed to be.
I had an OnLive press account.
Oh, did you enjoy your 4 games that came to that?
I think I played Saints Row the Third on there a year later after it came out everywhere else. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I think streaming is fine in terms of tech.
I guess this is part of the CMA thing because they are.
Oh yeah, right. They got this deal that
fitting it off.
Yeah, and then I bet they'll be able to make some deals with that, and there will be some audience for streaming. Some people won't want to buy hardware. They'll have a TV. They'll want to play games, I guess. But I think the people that are really going to be, yeah.
Some of us also have a data cap, which I almost hit yesterday.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. I got a poll from yesterday. I'll bring that up here in a second. There it is. Now we go to news assets. There we go. What game comes out first? This is from Monday's Game Mess Mornings. Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream. 27% say that one. Star Wars KOTOR remake from Saber. 28% say that one, so only 1% more. And then 45% rack their vote up for neither. I think neither of these games are going to come out. How do you feel, Lucy?
Yeah, I was going to say, Absby wrote Skull and Bones. When is that coming out?
Yeah, both these are more likely than Skull and Bones. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just feels like such a weird one. So what is it? The
Star Wars
KOTOR
Eclipse
remake?
Star Wars Eclipse is the Quantic Dream game, right? That face is correct. And Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is already moved from one studio to another.
Yeah, I mean, both seem to be very early in production. I would imagine that the Saber is overhauling everything Aspire did at this point, or at least sifting through everything. It's going to be at least 3 years until we see either of them. Probably closer to 5.
I think that's right for both.
And at that point, what is the landscape going to look like for Star Wars? Are people going to give a solitary shit? Yes, for KOTOR, because there is the nostalgia tied in there, but
Well, Eclipse is High Republic, so, and I like the High Republic books. Lucy, High Republic is like, we're going to go back 700 years, that might be 200 years, whatever it is, into the past before A New Hope, and tell stories about when the Republic was really strong and the Jedi were actually competent and all this stuff. And some of the books have been very good. The first book was excellent. But that's like a publishing initiative from Lucasfilm and like Lucasfilm's book publishing arm, and they have comics and stuff, and they're going to make a show. But in 5 years, that could be behind them. They could be like the High Republic, it did its thing or it didn't, and we're moving on. And I guess here's this game from Quantic Dream now. Like that, it's gonna be weird. I don't know. I guess maybe the High Republic will never go away or something. I don't know. It seems
You know what?
strange.
You said all that, and I was just like, wow.
You're like that's not Frodo.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's just not Frodo. yeah.
Not Frodo. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's. I tell you what, I would not be in. I want to be in the business of trying to make video games based on some weird Star Wars offshoot.
Properties? No.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Genuinely, any licensed property is such a roll of the dice right now, except for the Lord of the Rings Hobbit cozy sim game that Weta is making.
Well, of course.
That gets a pass.
What do you think cozy means there? Because, listen, I look at the Shire, and I do think that looks cozy as fuck. You think they're trying to capture that feeling?
Yeah. 100%.
I hope so.
I just want a game that is set in the world of Middle Earth, and I don't have to follow Frodo and the fucking ring.
Yeah, I don't want to
even hear about the ring. I don't want to hear about the ring. I just want to enjoy it and just like doss about.
Yeah, I want to drink with Sam. I'll drink with Samwise. That's who I want to hang out with. But like when Frodo shows up, me and Samwise are gonna be like, "Get out of here! We didn't invite you." All right. I got a new poll. We'll talk about that in a second. Lucy, in the meantime, why don't you tell people what you got going on, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Tam and I played Alan Wake. You can go check out his preview on GameSpot.com, the video preview on YouTube, and also on GameSpot.com. We've got F-Zero to Hero today, Blight Club, Major Mitch's first deployment. Major Mitch. Tomorrow, we've got the Resident Evil 4, Separate Ways, Quick Look, a Voicemail Dump Truck, and UPF on Friday. And then next week, we'll be recording another episode of Jeff Joseph's Our Adventure with one John Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Look forward to that.
And then what else am I doing? I'm writing a big video about the Cyberpunk timeline.
I am very excited about that because that lore there is so fascinating. They do such a good job.
Well, that's the thing. We delayed the video so that I can include 2077 and Phantom Liberty.
Yep.
So
excellent. That is really good stuff.
It will be your one-stop shop. And it's also kind of fun because I got to read the Cyberpunk TTRPG like world building book and stuff for it. So
are there like novel? I'm sure there are, but are there novels of Cyberpunk 2020?
Yeah, there's one right there on my shelf.
Right. I might read some of that stuff.
It's called No Coincidence. I think there's comics too, and there's obviously Edge Runners.
Right. I should watch Edge Runners. That's the thing I should actually do.
You should watch Edge Runners.
Everyone seems to love it. I should just give it a shot. All right, let's see here. I got a new poll that we will discuss on Game Mess Mornings tomorrow. It is, are you playing Payday 3 or are you waiting until it gets some more updates? Yes, no, and I have no interest in Payday 3. Feel free to hit that one if you have no interest in Payday 3. We will discuss that on Game Mess Mornings, like I said, tomorrow on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, stick around after this. As Lucy said, F-Zero to Hero. Me and Mike are going to go head-to-head as much as you can in F-Zero. It'll be fun. Watch that. It's going to be about an hour. And then later today, well, Blight Club, Major Mitch. And you're not going to want to miss that because we got to see what stupid outfit we're putting this guy in. That will be happening at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So F-Zero to Hero right after this, and then 2:30 p.m. Eastern, get back here. We'll do a little bit of Blight Club. All right, Lucy, thank you so much for talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's always nice to be here.
Thank you all for watching. Oh, Jan says wait. I'm going to wait.
Oh, wait.
I need a live react to Slack real quick. Okay, yes, sure, absolutely. I could do that.
A live react to Slack?
Okay, let's see. Where do I GB Staff General? Okay, let's see. Is that not
where in Slack?
Where in Slack, Jan? That's the thing I don't know. Is it up here? Listen, Jan. I was gonna suggest this. I was gonna say let's do that. I was like literally thinking about this exact image in my head, and so the fact that you've already made it.
Perfect.
Jan's thumbnails are secretly the best thing about Giant Bomb. Every time he does, because he goes away into his little Jan corner and does them and doesn't tell anybody, and then they're on the video, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
God.
All right, look out for that, everybody. Look out for that. That'll be 2:30 p.m. If you want to see what me and Lucy are reacting to, that's on Blight Club later today. You're the best audience in gaming, and I'm gonna be back with another show tomorrow. So until then, have a good one. Take care of yourself. And goodbye. All right, we did it. Lucy, feel free to hop on off, get back to